bees are dying, and our survival depends on them. That's why 4RBs created the Pure Wave Cell, a breakthrough quantum device proven to help hives thrive, doubling colonies and boosting honey production naturally. Every jar of our Pure Wave honey fuels this mission, supporting beekeepers worldwide. Visit 4RBs.com. That's the number 4RBs.com, and use code WITF for 20% off. Save the bees! Save us all!
Where in the Folk is not and should not be viewed as a news source. Any names, places, or likenesses mentioned are purely fictional, and any information discussed is purely speculative. Guest opinions are their own and do not reflect those of anyone else. Where in the Folk is not responsible for content accuracy of any stories that are told or what people do with these stories. This show is vulgar, sometimes graphic, and due to its content, it should not be viewed by anyone, actually.
Welcome to another episode of Where in the Folk. I hope everybody has had a tremendous week, and thank you for joining myself, Cecil, and Morgana and Steven as we dive into a viewer requested topic tonight. Before we get started, how have you all been?
Awesome.
Doing good.
Good.
I figure if I say it loud enough and put it out there well enough, the universe might listen.
Maybe.
I'm
Try.
Hey, Lander, Crystal.
Hey, everybody land at Crystal. I don't see anybody else, so they're slackers. We try to give them time to get here, but you know how it is. But you know, I'm really excited to get off tonight because I made a stuffed crust pizza, and I got to eat a piece of it. It was delicious. What up, Alan? It was delicious.
Hey, Alan.
I can't wait to finish the rest of it. It's so good. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and get straight into it because I didn't think this was going to be a long one because the crimes themselves were pretty much universal and there wasn't a lot involved with it. But the person was kind of intriguing, so we'll go into the backstory. But we'll go ahead and get.
Hold on a minute. Landon,
Yeah.
Was it your birthday, or is this just a special gift to you? Special gift to yourself. She got a snow cone machine.
Oh, nice!
I want a
Hey.
snow cone
I
machine.
want a snow cone machine too.
Know what I'll be doing while I'm waiting for him to change my tire tomorrow.
It must be nice to have money to buy a snow cone machine. I'm gonna get out here.
I was just imagining the headache I would give myself if I had a snow cone machine. I would do it.
What are they? The push-up flavored one. That's the orange with
Oh
some cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting to where we make everything at home now, so snow cones are probably on the horizon somewhere.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to start making our own coffee creamer because we had one that we was buying that was just cream, chocolate, caramel syrup, and that's it. And they quit making it. And so I'm like, every time we find something that they don't put 1,000 things in, they quit making it. So we're just going to start making coffee creamer at home, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like to just heavy whipping cream. That's what I want. That's what I want my creamer to be in my coffee.
I like chocolate and caramel. It's also good. What up, Brian? Whoop, whoop.
I hear you. You know your fancy flavors.
Well, I drank black coffee for years, and I refused to drink creamer in my coffee because I told you it'd make me soft. And then I tried Dunkin's Donuts coffee, and somebody got me some creamer, and I was like, "This is delicious." so now,
See, that's it. I'm not a big fan of the flavor of coffee.
I love coffee,
and I mean, I drink it. You know, for the most part, I drink 32 to 40 ounces every morning before lunch. You know, so I mean, it's not that I dislike coffee in and of itself, but I do not like the flavor of coffee. So I put cream, usually heavy cream, vanilla. I don't have to have it sweet, but it's got to be almost white.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I used to love this white chocolate raspberry creamer. And a lot of different stuff. But after we had the vid the last time and lost our taste and smell, it's like I can taste the chemicals in a lot of creamers now. So it's really hard for us to find one that just doesn't have the aftertaste of puke.
Yeah.
And then it's weird.
Oh no, look, I'm the same way. I'm very picky about what I use because the same thing. I can taste chemicals, the aftertaste, all that. That's the reason I don't use a lot of the artificial sweeteners because I'm diabetic. So, I'm not supposed to do sugar. But, sweetener is disgusting, except xylitol. That tastes like sugar, but I have to be careful because it's poisonous to dogs. So,
okay.
I love sugar now. I can eat sugar for days. I'm not diabetic, surprisingly.
Right. Isn't that what they put in sugar-free gum?
Gum, mint, that kind of stuff. And when you first start using it, it has almost a cooling that you kind of feel on your tongue a little bit. Like I said, it's the closest thing I have found to the flavor of sugar.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Now we had she was a little slightly bigger than a teacup Yorkie, and she got into a pack of gum, and we thought that she might have given her a stroke because after that she could be walking across a flat floor and she might just fall over. I mean, it was.
Yep. So that's like I said, I'm very careful with it. I make sure on the rare occasion I drop a few, granules. I'm over there cleaning it up, and I can't do Splenda. Monk fruit, a little bit, but not Splenda. I don't like the taste. I can taste it. I tried doing stevia because stevia is like 10 times sweeter than sugar. Oh God, it's so disgusting. It's okay to bake with. If you want to bake something and it doesn't have the sweet, the sugar in it, but boy, the taste of it is just horrendous. I grew it because I'm like, I'm going to do it upright. I'll never use sugar again. Yeah.
I didn't know that Splenda was a plant until this very moment.
No. Splenda's not.
Oh,
Stevia.
okay.
Stevia. Yes, stevia.
I didn't know that either.
Yes, stevia it looks like mint, like peppermint or spearmint or any of those other mints. It looks just like it, but it is super, super sweet. And it's a lot of people use it that are diabetic.
I feel like creamer is something that the government has implemented on us to try to do something, because now everybody's all about putting milk in their pop. Like that don't make sense. They call it dirty. They call it dirty stuff, like dirty Dr. Pepper, dirty Mountain Dew.
That reminds me of Laverne and Shirley. She drank Pepsi and milk. Yeah,
really?
It's like creamer or something.
Do you remember that show?
The show? Oh yeah, I watched the show. I didn't specifically remember that part.
That's what Laverne drank was Pepsi and milk.
Yeah, I remember the show. You have Laverne and Shirley, Lenny and Squiggy.
Yep.
What was it? Carmine was the
Carmine. Yep. So no, I can't. No, that's like people. There was a lady here not too long ago. It's been within the last 2 weeks. Raw milk is a big thing right now. Well, she was pregnant and she drank all this raw milk and ended up, she almost died. She lost her baby. Well, now she's suing the company that made the milk because they weren't clear enough that it wasn't safe. And it says right on the carton, not for human consumption. They make it for calves that, the mother's rejected or whatever. I mean, it's on two sides of it, not for human consumption. Well, then they went back and looked at all of her posts talking about, well, I don't care, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, you did that to yourself. pasteurization. I mean, it's one of the better things that have been invented. You know,
Ain't never drank milk straight from the teat.
nope. And because teats are too close to feces and splash, you know, urine splash. So no, I'll take the pasteurized stuff.
I just spit on it right off a little
bit. Way too close to the exhaust there. Huh?
Yes, sir. There you go. There you go. All right, so yeah, let's talk serial killers.
Nursing homes are built on trust. Everyday families leave behind people they love, and they believe they'll be cared for with kindness and dignity. They trust that nurses, they trust the doctors, they trust the system. But what happens when the person wearing the scrubs is the one that the family should fear? Tonight, we're talking about Elizabeth Wettlaufer. I hope we pronounced that correctly. She looks very unassuming, but really she was a bit of a devil in disguise here. So we'll go ahead and get rolling with it. So who was Elizabeth? Elizabeth Tracy May Wettlaufer was born on June 10th, 1967 in Woodstock, Ontario, Canada. Woodstock is often called the dairy capital of Canada. We was just talking about that. It's kind of a community where neighbors know each other, churches are woven into everyday life, and many families have lived there for generations. By nearly every outward appearance, Elizabeth's childhood looked very stable. She grew up deeply religious in a Christian household. Faith wasn't just something her family practiced on Sundays. It shaped their daily lives. Church attendance was routine and moral expectations were high. Friends and acquaintances would later describe Elizabeth as intelligent, awkward, eager to please, and deeply insecure. She wasn't known as a troublemaker, and there was no verified reports of violent behavior during her childhood. Let's see. Well, that's embarrassing. I just hit something and lost my place. All right. Beneath the surface, however, she later described feeling different from other people for much of her life. As an adult, she would tell investigators she struggled with self-worth from a young age and often felt like she never measured up. It's important to pause here because this is where many true crime stories start drawing straight lines from childhood to murder. This evidence that we're going to go over doesn't truly support that. Millions of people growing up feeling insecure or struggling with mental health, however, they never harm anyone. Investigators in later public inquiry found no evidence that Elizabeth's upbringing predicted that what she would eventually do. What is documented is that she carried emotional struggles into adulthood that became more severe over time. And that's one thing that when I was doing the research for this was truly strange. Like, from everything that I was able to find about her childhood, is pretty normal compared to, like your Donald Harveys and things, your Ted Bundy's, Dahmers. Like, there's not really much that would in her childhood that would have led her to be your average serial killer. Is that what you all feel too?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I agree with that because that was one of the things that I found that a lot of people commented on was that there just wasn't any outward appearance. There was nothing about her. Because, you look back on a lot of serial killers, for instance, Bundy, he was charismatic, everybody seemed to love him. Or Dahmer, there were just things there that people could look back and say, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. And nobody really saw that with her.
Yeah, she's a weird one. And I'm glad Crystal brought this up because I've heard about her, but I'm going into this research. It kind of leaves you in a little bit of even more of a shaken phase than I already was by the world, because outwardly she had her demons and stuff that we'll get into, but outwardly she was just a normal person that worked at a place that she had access. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
do you want me to pick up here?
if you want, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going
I
to
hope
put it
you
all
drink
on
more
you.
wine.
Okay, not a problem. All right. So by the late 1980s, Elizabeth had decided on a career in nursing. So for many people that knew her, it seemed like a good fit. She was intelligent. She enjoyed helping people, and nursing offered stability, purpose, and a respected profession. So she enrolled in nursing school and eventually graduated as an RN. On paper, she was building exactly the kind of life many people aspire to, but privately, cracks were already beginning to show. So Elizabeth struggled with alcoholism for years, later admitting that drinking became a way to cope with emotional pain and feelings of failure. Her alcohol use would continue throughout much of her nursing career, sometimes affecting her work and leading to disciplinary issues. She also sought treatment at different times for depression and other mental health concerns. During legal proceedings and the public inquiry, experts discussed diagnoses that included borderline personality disorder, but it's important to emphasize that mental illness does not explain or excuse her crimes. Exactly. The overwhelming majority of people with similar diagnoses never commit the types of acts that are tied to it.
I never have.
No. I will admit it's crossed my mind, but it's the not taking that step matters.
Yep.
So in her case, investigators concluded that she understood the difference between right and wrong. Her murders were deliberate acts for which she was held criminally responsible. As she moved from one healthcare job to another, co-workers often described her as competent in some situations and difficult in others. There were complaints, conflicts with supervisors, problems with attendance issues related to alcohol. Some employees terminated her employment. Others allowed her to resign. Yet time after time, she found another nursing position. Looking back, it's easy to wonder whether those employment issues should have raised alarms. At the time, however, none of those concerns pointed investigators and employers towards murder. They looked like the struggles of a nurse battling addiction and workplace problems, not someone secretly killing patients.
Exactly. I mean, everybody goes through things like this, and not everybody, but most people.
Yeah.
I mean, I have very similar diagnoses as she does, and I was a raging alcoholic for many years. But my work, I was still pretty tight at work though. I was still pretty good, but I don't know. Like, I guess it's the wiring in somebody's brain, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and I think maybe not necessarily right now, but maybe later on in the conversation, it kind of brings up, are some people just born broken or born evil?
Yeah. Right. Hang on a second.
It kind of makes you wonder. They give in to that, it's I always kind of fall back on the old Native American saying, there's two wolves that live inside me. Mm-hmm. Which one's going to grow and become the biggest is the one that I feed.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I quit drinking. I think for the most part, like, I hit a point, like, after losing dad and things like that, to where drinking wasn't me having a good time anymore. It was me masking something, and things got pretty dark sometimes, so I had to quit.
Yeah.
But that says a lot, though, is though that you saw that and knew that you needed to do something about it.
Yeah.
So,
and to me, that speaks a lot about your willpower. That you realized that it was a problem, and you eliminated that problem.
Yeah. But I'm thinking about going back to it.
You know what? If I had had a bottle in my house last weekend, I would have. So
it comes up in time. But yeah.
I said, no, the only thing I had in the house was rum, which I don't drink, and cooking wine, which is disgusting from a drinking level.
Cooking wine, would you have to filter that through bread or what?
I don't know. And see, I don't like wine anyway. And like I said, it's got its place in cooking, but I don't want a glass.
Yeah, no. Now rum used to be my drink. I used to drink this stuff called Kraken. It's like a spiced black rum or whatever. I used to get it by the gallon, half gallons, and I loved it for a long time, and then it did me dirty. So
Mose was Captain Morgan Special Reserve.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
good stuff too.
that was his. As long as he didn't do 10-year-old charter or old charter honey tea.
Yeah.
Those both almost got his ass kicked out of the house permanently.
The reason I like Kraken so much though is because I could walk into parties and go, "Releasing the Kraken." It's fun, good times. So by the early 2000s, Elizabeth eventually found work in long-term care. For listeners who haven't spent much time around nursing homes, it's worth understanding the environment. Residents are often elderly, not always the case, but most often the case. Many have multiple chronic illnesses. Some have dementia. Many are nearing the end of their lives. Deaths, sadly, are expected. My dad was a younger man when he went into assisted living for a while after a surgery. He had to be there for own care, and there's a vibe in nursing homes that's, they're there to take care of them, but you can tell the people that's fed up with being employed there, which I think if you're at that point, you should move on to a different career.
Right.
Or at least a different place, because there are other places in healthcare that, and okay, first let me premise that with healthcare is difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are relying on you and anything goes wrong and it's on you. But there are easier places than a nursing home. Mm-hmm. And, I had a friend that talked me into taking nursing classes at night for nursing assistants. And it took me 2 weekends in a nursing home to decide that was not for me. I did not have the heart for it, because if somebody cried, I felt like they needed somebody to cry with them. And emotionally, I just couldn't. So like I said, that to me, that and mental health facilities to me are the two hardest ones there are.
Right. Now, this right here is where I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I do want to interject a point from what you read earlier about this lady. Part of her diagnosis was that she was a pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you get to this right here, I don't know. I mean, between alcoholism and all that, and the simple fact that she wanted to be a pleaser, somebody who's a pleaser, they're going to do things that other people wouldn't do, simply because they are a pleaser.
Yeah.
If somebody was begging, saying, "Hey, please go ahead and do this or that or whatever," I mean, Dr. Kevorkian, that's what he specialized in for how many years, until they finally caught him and sentenced him.
Yeah. No, we'll get to it, but I didn't find that they were asking her to do this in this.
Yeah.
She could.
Well, I'll say this. My great grandmother, she never smoked.
Yeah.
But my great grandfather did. And my great grandmother, she died from lung cancer, emphysema and lung cancer. And I think I was 10 or 11, maybe 12 years old whenever she passed. It's probably 10 or younger, to be honest about it. And I remember we would go sit in the hospital with her every day, or it seemed like every day whenever I was a kid.
Yeah.
And at times you would think that she'd be asleep, and all of a sudden she would just cry out in pain. And whenever she finally passed, I was glad that was over.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there. I've seen family members that I was like, I wish they'd just go ahead and go so they could be out of this.
Yeah.
I don't know, when it comes to that particular thing of like wanting to end your life early, I'm under the firm belief I just got to ride it out. Let's see what happens, But I can understand not wanting to be in pain anymore too. fully.
I mean, it's a
tricky subject.
Yeah, it is. It is, and whatever side you fall on it, I'm sure you're gonna find somebody who will disagree with you on whatever side you choose.
That's the reason I decided if I'm ever in that situation, I'm going to develop a heroin problem. I'm just going to do it.
I think that people, and I will go with first off, I'm talking about people that are terminal. Right. They have a right to die with dignity, and I think that the option should be there for them, to not be in that pain. I don't think a teenager that's going through depression, or if someone my age that's just feeling down, should have that option. But I think if you've got terminal cancer or dementia before you get to a point where you can't make those decisions, I think you should be allowed to make those decisions.
Yeah.
Again, I know that's not necessarily popular or that everybody else believes that, and that's fine, but, dignity is a huge thing.
Yeah,
and, I've always told y'all, if anybody ever told you I took myself out, find out who set me up, because I like me. If I ever found out I had a terminal condition before I got to the point where my family had to take care of me, I'd end it.
I kind of want to put Mandy through it. I want her to have to take care of me.
We've talked about doing an ayahuasca retreat, Crystal. It has come up more than once.
Wait,
but if you see what everybody else sees, you may think about this. Hold on a minute.
So residents passing away, like we said, doesn't automatically trigger suspicion in these places, and that's exactly what made these facilities such a vulnerable place. When someone is in long-term care and experiences a sudden decline, it's often attributed to age, underlying disease, or natural complications. Mm-hmm. The reality would become a crucial part of how Elizabeth was able to kill without attracting immediate suspicion. She wasn't hiding bodies. She wasn't staging elaborate crime scenes. She was operating in an environment where death was already a regular part of life. Soon, she would begin working at a facility called Carissant Care. That's how I read it.
Yep.
And over the next several years, families would unknowingly entrust their loved ones to someone who would later admit that she had become obsessed with what she described as a feeling of power over life and death. None of them had any reason to believe the person responsible for keeping their family members safe would instead become the greatest threat that they faced in their life. That's really a building point to where we're getting to with this whole thing. Let's see. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I just lost my track of thought. Oh my God, I went blank.
Now, think how much worse it would be if you were still drinking.
Oh yeah. Now when I'm drinking, I can come up with stuff on the fly.
Can you snap the alphabet backwards?
I can. I actually did it once. No joke. I got pulled over, drunk as hell, in my hometown. And they's like, "We know you're drunk. You give us a breathalyzer test." I'm like, "I'm not drunk, dude, and I'm not giving you a breathalyzer test." And they's like, "Oh, we'll say your ABCs backwards," and I did it. It's like, "Well, I guess you can go." And they let me go. I'm not even joking. They did let me go. That's pretty cool.
They'd arrest me because I'd have to stop every third letter and go, "Okay, WX,
yep.
I can't do it now.
Y-X, V-U." Nope, I've already messed up.
I used to practice sobriety tests. I used to practice them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like walking a straight line when I was drunk. Like I'd do that as a party thing. Touching my nose. I can't even do it now. But back in my 20s, I could rock that shit. Just don't get the breathalyzer.
There you go. So by the early 2000s, Elizabeth had settled into a career in long-term nursing. And for anyone who's never worked around a nursing home, it's hard to understand just how different these facilities are from hospitals. Hospitals are designed to treat illness and send people home. Long-term care homes are different. They're home. Residents don't come for a few days. They often spend the last months or years of their lives there. The staff become familiar faces. Nurses learn residents' routines, favorite foods, and even which TV shows they watch every evening. Families put an enormous amount of trust in the people caring for their loved ones, and for a good reason. Many residents can't advocate for themselves anymore. Some are living with advanced dementia. Others have suffered strokes. Some can no longer speak. Many require help with every aspect of daily life, from eating and bathing to taking medication. That means residents are completely dependent on the people caring for them. Most nurses see that responsibility as a privilege. Eventually, Elizabeth would see it as a power. In 2007, she began working at the Carson Care Nursing and Retirement Home in Woodstock, Ontario. At first, there was nothing remarkable about her employment. Co-workers generally viewed her as capable, though she could be moody and sometimes difficult to work with. She had struggled with alcohol for years, but there was nothing to suggest she was about to become one of Canada's most notorious healthcare killers. Like many nurses, she worked long shifts, many of them overnight. And if you've ever worked nights, you know that they have their own rhythm. The halls get quiet, families go home, lights get dim, and residents sleep. The staff shrinks to a skeleton crew responsible for dozens of people. It's quieter, less supervision, fewer witnesses. As investigators would later learn, the perfect environment for someone determined to harm patients without being noticed. So to understand what happened next, we need to talk about insulin.
Oh, yeah.
Not because the science is complicated, but because understanding insulin explains why these murders remained hidden for so long. Okay, so insulin's a hormone that lowers blood sugar. For people living with diabetes, it's often life-saving. However, for someone who doesn't need it, too much insulin can be deadly. When blood sugar drops too low, the brain begins to lose its fuel supply. So at first, a person may become confused or sweaty, then weak. Eventually, they may lose consciousness, suffer seizures, and die if the blood sugar isn't corrected in time. So imagine that happening to an elderly nursing home resident, someone who already has multiple medical conditions, someone whose health may already be fragile, and a sudden medical decline wouldn't necessarily seem suspicious. It could look like just another complication of old age. So that's exactly what made insulin such a devastating weapon. It was readily available. It left no obvious injury. Unless someone specifically suspected an insulin overdose and tested for it promptly, the true cause is never going to be discovered. And Elizabeth knew all of that. She was a nurse. She understood exactly what insulin could do. And years later, during police interviews, she admitted that her first murder wasn't planned weeks in advance. She described acting on an impulse. An impulse, she said, was tied to anger, emotional distress, and a desire to exert control. Investigators would later determine that explanation didn't lessen her responsibility, but it did provide insight into how she described her own thinking. She knew what she was doing, she knew it was wrong, and she chose to do it anyway.
So, I mean, now that I'm listening to it and stuff, writing it out and stuff, it seems like this is probably somebody that grew up with zero control over her life, right? Especially the way that it's explained in the beginning. So she found the one thing that she could completely control, and that's terrifying. That's probably that's the majority of the reason on why she did all this.
Well, and one of the things too that I noticed during reading about it and everything is the fact that you hear about this happening in long-term care and stuff like that, but most of the time it's because they really feel like they're helping the person. That they're suffering and I'm going to end their suffering. They refer to them as angels of death. This isn't her.
No.
No, she just wanted to be in complete control of something. And that was it. Then to take control of life and death, that's such a bold move. You know what I mean?
Oh, it is. I mean, it's
I don't want that kind of responsibility.
No, I hate
so if
having
it was great, I mean, so I didn't read a report. You know, what kind of a thrill did she get out of that, or was it just a power thing with her?
it's control. She felt like she could completely control the situation.
Yeah. So if it's control, then it's a power thing.
Oh yeah,
People control other people. So
Yep.
I mean, that would be the thing. You know, that would be the same thing that an egomaniac is who can assert authority over someone else or an entire country or whatever scale at its own.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, because some people need a whole country. Some people only need an occasional boost, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yep.
that's wild. That is wild. So, I mean, it's I don't know. Like I can. I hate to say this, but I think there's certain ways that I have been an egomaniac myself in my life. If Tully was here, he'd go, "Yeah." I could say the same about him. But
Well, yeah, but I look at it too. I've told people this 1,000 times. I used to be an idealist and would tell you, "Oh, I'm not better than anybody else," and that's bullshit. There are people in this world that I'm better than. I mean, and that's the reality, because there are some useless, sorry pieces of humanity out there. Now, do I think the average person is beneath me? No, I do not. But I am superior to some people.
yeah, I mean, I feel unfortunately I feel the same way because I mean, in the eyes of the Lord,
Mhm.
everybody's equal, but behind out of these people, I see some pretty despicable people. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Uh,
But I will also point out to you the people that make me look like, because like I said, I do know my limitations. I mean, I may not admit them to everybody, but I do admit them to myself and to the people I'm close to.
oh,
I'm not
Melanie and
perfect.
I was talking about this the other day. We are 100% pure white trash. The only difference is we live in a house instead of a mobile home. But
I live in a mobile home, so I'm not.
We wanted a mobile home. We just couldn't afford it. But yeah, by the definition of it, we come to a conclusion, and I think that's where we're at in our life. I go to Walmart dressed in ball shorts and a hoodie most of the time and wearing flip flops. She goes wearing muumuus sometimes.
So you're saying that I could see you on People of Walmart at some point.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Now I'm going to say, and like I said, I don't judge because, like I said, I've seen me at my worst, but I can honestly say that is one thing I will never do is be on a People of Walmart thing because I do not leave my house.
I don't even care at this point. The other day I went to Walmart and I was wearing what I thought were my ball shorts. They ended up being Mandy's and they were about halfway up wearing an old hoodie that I hadn't worn in a long time. And I've gained some weight. So walking through, I noticed that I think the bottom part of my belly is exposed right now. And it was.
Oh,
and yeah, so
you may see me occasionally at a Walmart where I've got on a greasy shirt and my work boots, but that's
but that's you just got off work, and that's the thing. Like I said, and I'll be honest with you, I would not have been as strict in the fact that I do this until they created the People of Walmart, and I'm like, hell no, I'm not going to be that person.
The only thing that changes too from the wardrobe I just described in the winter is I do wear work boots instead of flip flops. That keeps me from slipping. But I wear them without socks and I don't tie them. So
you need to get Skechers.
Yeah.
That's right.
But,
they have slip-on ones now. Most swears by them.
Oh well, that's nice.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Skechers or get you some Crocs. They have Crocs that have a liner on the inside of them. So,
Nice.
yeah, I mean, that'd be good for wintertime there.
But yeah, I've got the Dunlap disease. That's right, Crystal. It took many years to finally happen, but it happened. Come to find out, after I went to the ER the other day, when I thought I was having a heart attack, they said I need to lose weight. So I guess that's happening now. I've cut way back on my food intake and all that good jazz, and I've quit smoking as much. I still smoke, but instead of a pack and a half a day, I'm down to about half a pack. So I'm getting better.
Hey, that's a good place to start.
I like Crocs. I love Crocs, but Crocs are the shoe of idiocracy.
I only wear Crocs to do yard work, so I don't mess up my good shoes.
That's what's so crazy. Like, I think the Croc fade may be done, but there at one point, everybody you've seen at Walmart was wearing Crocs. But the shoe of the future in idiocracy is Crocs.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the movie, that's 100% what they wear throughout that whole movie.
I'm waiting for them to start putting Gatorade on our vegetables, people. I mean, I really think we are that close to. Idiocracy was not supposed to be a roadmap. No, it was supposed to be a cautionary tale.
Just like Escape from New York City was not supposed to be a documentary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's all getting crazy out there.
Yep.
But yeah. So we'll move on to where she started. Her first known victim that I could find was James Silcox. Mm-hmm. He is 84 years old. He was more than a resident in the room. He was a father, grandfather, a World War II veteran, someone who spent decades building a life before eventually requiring long-term care. By August of 2007, James was living in the Coruscant care like everyone else there. He depended on the nurses around him. And on the night of August 11th, 2007, Elizabeth just so happened to be working as well. At some point during her shift, she drew insulin into a syringe. Now, keep in mind, James was not diabetic. He had no medical reason to receive this insulin. According to Elizabeth's later confession, she entered the room and injected him. No one saw what happened. There wasn't any alarms that sounded. No one ever questioned why a trusted nurse was administering the medication. No one ever would. Over the next several hours, James's condition deteriorated, and shortly soon after, he passed away. At the time, his death wasn't treated as suspicious. There was no homicide investigation. His death was recorded as natural. And why wouldn't it be? You know, he was in end-of-life care. His family had no reason to believe anything else. And for nearly a decade, they didn't believe anything else had happened. It wasn't until Elizabeth confessed years later they learned his death had been, in fact, a murder. After this, something changed within Elizabeth. Rather than feeling horror or remorse for what she had done, Elizabeth experienced a sense of power that we were speaking about earlier. She had taken a life. Not one person suspected any wrongdoing or her capable of doing such a thing. And, you know, Elizabeth just went home, then came back to work, went home, came back to work, kept doing this over and over, and her life continued with no repercussions of what she had done. And perhaps the most frightening of all, the system worked exactly like she expected it would. The silence emboldened her because James Silcox wouldn't be her last victim, not even close. Now, that kind of solidifies where it came from. The sense of power, like as a kid, the way that they described that she was described as a kid, she must have, every aspect of her life had to be controlled. I bet she was the type that wasn't allowed to even try to talk to boys till she was 18 or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I don't see how it would go into this realm. So it did all become routine after this. After the death of James Silcox, life at Coruscant Care continued as normal. The sun would come up, breakfast was served, medication carts rolled through the hallways, And to everyone around Elizabeth, just another elderly resident had passed away, just as so many as they have seen before. Tragic as it was unusual for an assisted living facility, like we mentioned earlier. The normalcy may be exactly what made the next several years so dangerous. Before we continue, there's something important to understand. This is another thing that kind of separates her from your average serial killer. Elizabeth didn't kill every week. She didn't even kill every month. There were long stretches where nothing happened at all. She continued working. She socialized. She went to church. She sought treatment for alcohol use. And, there was long, long periods of time when she didn't kill anybody. And what do they call that? They call that something in the...
It's normally they escalate.
Yeah. They call the moments of cool off, like the killers that have the longest period, like long periods of cool off, something. And you think I would know it?
Hang on.
That's a good point, Crystal. I seen something about it, but I didn't include it in this.
Cooling off period.
Yeah. Crystal brought up that she may have hidden her sexuality in a very religious area. That may have been the issue too. Very well could be. That could most certainly be part of it. But on the surface, she appeared to be living an ordinary life. Then according to her later confession, periods of emotional distress or anger would build up until she acted again. So during her cool-off period, it was just a steady, gradual build until, something else happened. That unpredictable pattern made it even harder for anyone to connect the deaths, because if you start having a bunch of residents that have the same type of deterioration just over and over every single day, something's going to start.
Mm-hmm.
Since there wasn't a sudden spike, there wasn't an obvious cluster of any kind. Just isolated tragedy spread across years. No one really batted an eye, which made it really a serial killer delight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So her next victim was Arpad Horvath. In 2014, she turned her attention to him. He was 75 years old. He had immigrated to Canada after surviving the upheaval of World War II and had built a life there with his family. And like so many residents at the care center, he depended on nurses for his daily care. Then on New Year's Eve of 2014, Elizabeth later admitted she had injected him with insulin, even though he wasn't diabetic. As with James years earlier, there was no immediate suspicion of foul play. His death appeared consistent with the kinds of medical emergencies that can occur in frail elderly residents. His family mourned, and then the staff moved on to the next shift. No one imagined they had just lost a loved one to murder. And if you've ever had a family member in long-term care, you know how much trust is involved. You don't stand beside the bed 24/7. You trust that the nurses know what they're doing, and you trust that the medications that are being given are correct. You trust that if something goes wrong, somebody's going to notice it.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to go through the other additional victims too. From what I could see, everything was very similar. She developed a method and followed through with it. And Ronnie and they said that he received an injection from her. That I can't even imagine what you would have thought after this happened. And you'd be like, "Holy shit, she gave me a shot once."
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, and like I said, okay, what did we figure out here? We've talked about it more than once. Was that there are so many serial killers that you are in contact with throughout your life and never know it.
Oh yeah.
But to actually be that close. I mean, I may walk next to one in Walmart. They've never given me a shot or been in my home or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, Ronnie, we are so glad to have you with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that's some wild stuff, man. I couldn't imagine that.
She kind of had an uptick there for a little while too, because
Yeah.
just a few months later in January, she struck again. Maurice Mo Granat was 84 years old. His family remembered him as somebody with a sharp sense of humor and a full life before entering long-term care. She later admitted she gave him insulin injections. Again, there was no murder investigation. Nothing appeared out of the ordinary. 3 murders, 3 grieving families, 3 deaths that were all attributed to natural causes.
Yeah. What up, Nick?
Hey, Nick.
Thank you for joining late, bro.
So, and then she moved from that, and that was in January. Then in March, there was Gladys Millard, 87 years old. She later admitted that she deliberately injected her. There was no reason to question the explanation they were given. Their loved one had been elderly. She had medical issues. The death fit the expectations that come with long-term care. It was only years later that they would learn those expectations had been exploited.
Yep. And just weeks later after that, she went for Helen Young, who was 90 years old. Investigators would later learn that Helen, too, had received insulin she was never supposed to receive. By now, Elizabeth had repeated the same method over and over. And every time the outcome was the same. No one connected dots. And this continued into her next one, our next victim as well, Mary Zumath. Mary Zumath, 89 years old. Elizabeth later admitted she murdered Mary in July of 2015. So I guess a lot of these took place in 2015.
Yeah, that was like 5 back to back.
Yeah. So that's 6 victims. Think about that. 6 people, 6 families, 6 funerals, and still no one suspected a thing. At this point, it's natural to ask how. How can 6 murders happen without anyone noticing? The answer isn't exactly simple. Residents had complex medical histories. Each death was considered individually rather than as a part of a larger pattern. And insulin overdoses in elderly patients weren't routinely investigated unless there was a reason to suspect them. And there simply wasn't one. Not yet, anyway. So she carried on about this. And in 2015 as well, Hilda Mickey Kolosok. Is that
Classic.
Yeah. So Elizabeth at this point had moved to another long-term care facility, but changing her employer didn't change her behavior. Her next victim, Hilda, known as Mickey, 89 years old. Again, Elizabeth confessed to administering insulin that wasn't prescribed, and again, the death was initially believed to be from natural causes. And this continued on to Maureen Pickering. The 8th and final murder Elizabeth confessed to was Maureen, 79 years old. By now, Elizabeth had worked in several facilities. She had been disciplined for workplace issues. She had battled alcoholism, and she had struggled with her mental health, but none of these things had revealed the truth. Instead, she continued caring for patients while secretly taking lives. I didn't go into much more detail because really there wasn't much more detail I could find. The story's long in progress, but she had her method and it was tried and true to what she was trying to accomplish, and that's just what she did.
She also confessed to attempting to kill several other people who survived and to assaults involving injections that didn't result in death. Some survived because the staff intervened. Others survived because the dose wasn't fatal. And those survivors and their families would later have to confront the knowledge that what had seemed like an unexplained medical crisis had actually been an intentional act. And by the fall of 2016, she'd taken 8 lives, attempted to take several more, yet she still remained free. And she wasn't hiding from police. They weren't looking for her. The investigation that would finally expose everything hadn't even begun. And I still, just looking at the pattern and everything that she was there's no telling how many she actually killed.
Because I usually every serial killer's numbers comes at a caveat, like an asterisk, like this may be how many. For her, I think she was being honest. This is how many I killed. Honestly, I did.
And it may have. I mean, it may have, but there's always that niggling little question in the back.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Because that was the thing. Like I said, that was one of the things that I came across more than once is people said, she said, I killed somebody. And nobody believed her. They thought it was the alcohol, or they thought it was, something, that she was just mentally unhinged. So that's what makes me wonder is, like I said, what, and if she was that much of an alcoholic and everything, are there gaps that she may not even remember?
Extra pudding cup.
It is possible, Crystal. And she may not remembered all of them if she was confused by it. But I don't know. When we get to it, the way that these crimes were discovered, I feel like she is almost like she was calling for some kind of atonement. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's possible too.
Yeah. And for almost a decade, Elizabeth lived with a secret no one else knew except for the people she told when she's drunk. And nobody believes you when you're drunk. And they should.
You're more honest.
When the way that I've noticed it over my life, the people that are shit-faced drunk are the most honest people I've ever spoken to.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that, Nick, if that was the case or not. She may have been. Hell, who knows? For almost a decade, though, she lived with that secret. She changed jobs, continued nursing, struggling with alcohol, sought treatment, attended church. From the outside, life moved on. But according to Elizabeth herself, the guilt never completely disappeared. That doesn't mean she stopped. It doesn't mean she turned herself in, but over time, the weight of what she'd done became harder to carry. And in 2016, Elizabeth voluntarily admitted herself to the Center for Addiction and Mental Health, better known as CM. I'm sorry, CAMH. How can you say that? CAMA? If you're trying to say it. Anyway, that's in Toronto.
It's kind of like comb. The H is silent.
Calm. Kama. Her goal for this was treatment for her addiction and her mental health. And as part of her treatment, Elizabeth began talking. At first, her conversations centered on addiction, depression, her life, her failures. Then the discussions took a dramatic turn. And this is when she told members of her treatment team something almost impossible to believe. She says she had been intentionally killing patients. Imagine hearing that. Can you? You're a healthcare professional sitting across from someone who calmly says, I murdered people. Would you believe them in that instance? Or would you think they're delusional, seeking attention?
See, I feel like words matter. Mm-hmm. And if you want to say I killed people, then I'm going to believe you and I'm going to take the next step, Yeah.
Yeah, because words mean something.
Yeah, they do. They do. And if somebody tells me that, I'm always like, well, who? That's what I want to know.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to ask some more questions, but I'm going to take you at your word. Okay. Unless you're just one of those stupid people, because I have had people, oh, man, I took out this guy. And I'm like, okay, dude, stop. But it's all going to be in the way it's delivered, I think. If we're sitting having a conversation and you're like, well, I used to kill people, I'm going to take you at your word until you prove to me otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there definitely should be some probing questions if anybody ever tells you they kill people.
Yeah.
Be like, well, you going to kill me? That'd be my first one. Like, what's your intentions with me?
Yeah.
Luckily, though, the staff did take those disclosures pretty seriously. As required by law and professional obligations, the information was reported through the appropriate channels. This is one facility that didn't fail. That of all the ones that we've researched over the years, this is one of the ones. From there, police became involved in settling a confession that sounded unbelievable had to be investigated. Detectives didn't begin by assuming Elizabeth was telling the truth. They had to verify everything. Did these patients exist? Yeah, they did. Had they died? For sure. Was Elizabeth caring for them? Absolutely. Could she have access to insulin? Yeah. And piece by piece, the impossible story began lining up with the evidence. And that's when we come to the police interview. I thought about playing the confession, but nah.
It was interesting, though. I mean, it was very interesting. Thanks,
Yeah.
Crystal, for sending that to me.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, we could. Nah. If you want to watch the confession, it's everywhere. You
Yeah,
can look
yeah.
it up. When investigators finally sat down with Elizabeth, they weren't dealing with someone denying everything. They weren't chasing lies. Instead, they were just listening. She basically answered questions. She described the victims, explained how she administered insulin. She acknowledged that the patients didn't need it. She admitted she knew the injections could kill them. And throughout the interview, investigators remained remarkably calm, not because what they were hearing wasn't horrifying, but because they needed the details, of course, every day, every facility, every resident, every memory. Each answer had to be checked against medical records, staffing schedules, and death records. One of the most chilling parts of the investigation wasn't the confession itself, it's how much of it could be confirmed. Elizabeth wasn't naming random people, she was naming residents she cared for, residents who died, residents whose deaths have never been questioned. And for investigators, the realization must have been devastating. They weren't uncovering recent murders; they were uncovering crimes that families believe had already been explained. That's the crazy. That's the reason I think that she probably was telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, and that was another thing too that. Okay, my mind just went totally blank. It'll come back to me though.
Yeah, that keeps
It
happening.
always does.
It's happened to me 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Well, oh, that's where I was going with that. Okay, and that's the other thing too that I mean, I assume most people know is it's almost never, I mean, almost never an autopsy done on a person in a long care facility.
no.
Because the reason that they are primarily there is to take care of people that are at the end of their life or that are so bad off medically that their families cannot take care of them. You know, home health isn't even a good option. You know, they are there in many cases to die. So then when someone does die, unless there is a reason, they're not going to do an autopsy. They're just going to say, oh, complications of, or it was his time, or, you know, she just had a bad turn. So, you know, if this were any other scenario and someone died, you're usually going to get an autopsy.
Yeah.
You know, or your family's, you know, your family can request one.
Yeah.
You know, but like I said, you know, why would you request one for your 90-year-old grandmother?
Yeah, most people don't.
Mm-mm.
The only one I don't know. I bet I'd like to know the statistic on how many actually request an autopsy be done. I bet it's very, very minimum.
Yeah, I wouldn't think there'd be. I would think that would hardly ever happen unless
Yeah.
somebody was suspicious to begin with.
Yeah, I think that'd be rare as hell. Like, I don't know, like if you go visit them and they're like, they're trying to kill me in this place, and like maybe that was
Roughly 1 to 10%. And a lot of it, you know, is cost, but and said most medical providers rarely even bring up the option to people.
Right.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep.
Because, you know, again, you know, unless they suspect something, it's just expected. And it's usually private facilities that tend to have people that ask for autopsies.
Yeah. See, with Crystal's comment there, that's kind of where I was. That's along the lines of what I was thinking earlier in the show when we were talking about that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's every time I go into a nursing home, a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, his mom's in a nursing home, and when we worked together, we would a lot of times we would stop to work, at least I don't know, a couple times a month anyway, and go in there and visit with her. And I mean, whenever you go into a nursing facility and you see people who are in the condition that they're in, I'm very thankful for the people, the caregivers that are there.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's not an uplifting place to be.
No.
I really hope that my time will end before my kids would have to put me in one.
Mm-hmm.
That's me personally.
Right. And I can honestly say, like I said, it didn't take me but a couple of weekends to decide that was not my calling. But that also opened my eyes to the fact that sometimes you don't have an option.
Right.
Sometimes you just, but the thing is, and that was something else I learned, if I ever got to the point that I felt like I had to put a parent in there, you have to go in and check on them and visit them and make sure everything's okay, because you will occasionally have somebody that is neglectful or abusive or whatever. And, this is a person who raised you most of the time. You owe them that.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And just like it's just like with some of the people, they have dementia, they have Alzheimer's. They'll talk to you and carry on the conversation. In 5 minutes, they won't remember or know that you were even there. I mean, it's just a difficult thing in life that we deal with.
Yeah. Look, I had a lady that came at me with a comb brandished like a knife because I was breaking into her house.
Yeah.
And she was going to defend her home and kill me. I mean, that's where her mind was, and everything. To say the least, that was, probably one of the least traumatic times, memories and everything.
Yeah. And like Crystal said right there, I also don't think it's a job just for anybody to do. It takes a certain mindset, because in these nursing homes, a lot of times family does not visit.
No.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
A lot of times. I don't think I could sit there and see that. Like when Dad was there, I'd go see him, every other day, but that's because it's 10 minutes down the road, and he was healthy. He's just out of surgery, needed to be cared for. He loved it, by the way. He's like, I wish I never had to leave. I loved it. All these crazy ass people are falling in hell. But you go in there and there'd be people that were just devastated because they haven't seen anybody in their family in months or sometimes years.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If anybody's listening out there and you do put somebody in a home, go visit them.
Yes. Absolutely. That's a terrible, especially too, if it's somebody who does still have their mind and wits about them. Yeah. Because all they have is time to sit and think about the fact that nobody has been there to see them.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's depressing. Let's go back to murder.
So now imagine all this from the family's perspective. I mean, maybe it had been 8 years, maybe 9, maybe a decade. You buried your mother, your father, your husband, your grandmother. You grieved. You accepted what doctors told you, that it was just simply their time. Then one day a phone rings and an investigator tells you that, well, your loved one's death is being reopened. Not because of new medical information, but because the nurse who cared for him just confessed to us they murdered him. there's no way to really prepare someone for a conversation like that. For me, many families, grief returns all over in that instance. You'd already accepted it. You're continuously living in grief, but I feel like this kind of death would elevate you into a new form of grief.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no,
I mean, if Nurse Wettlaufer had just done what Fauci had done and just plead the fifth on everything, I mean, she could still be nursing.
yeah, and what Mandy said there is absolutely correct. The things that's coming out about that, man, is just that's for another episode. But they had trusted the staff, they trusted the facility, they trusted the healthcare, they believed their loved ones were safe. Instead, the danger had been wearing a name badge the whole time. The police continued their investigation. They scoped the case. As the scope of the case became clearer, Elizabeth wasn't responsible for warranted deaths. She committed 8 murders, several attempted murders, and additional assaults. The evidence was completely overwhelming, packed on top of a straight up confession. There was no lengthy trial focused on what there would be no lengthy trial focused on whether she had done it. Instead, the next chapter would center on accountability, not only for Elizabeth, but for the institutions that allowed her to move job to job while vulnerable residents remained at risk. That code. Have y'all been following that at all? The Fauci thing?
I'm trying to keep my blood pressure down, so I haven't been following that.
It's a good idea to steer away from it. He reminds me of that Dave Chappelle episode. Whenever he's like, "I plead the fifth," and like they were asking him the color of things. He's like, "I'm under the general counsel monitor," and he's already been pardoned, so he's not going to get in trouble. Just tell us, man. Quit being a jerk.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he got it. He got his pardon. I mean, it's just like at least Rand Paul made his lawyers leave the hearing.
Yeah.
And wouldn't let him in.
All right, I'm going to have one bitch moment because I think that there's going to be more and more that comes out about that, and it needs to, rightfully so. But Rand Paul can release that, but can't release those damn Epstein files.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying one shouldn't be done and the other should. I'm just saying, if you can release that, then why are we still waiting?
Yep. I agree. I mean,
honest to God, feel like the Fauci thing, while it needs to be out, is another distraction.
Yeah, I mean,
no doubt.
Yeah, but anyway, like I said, not taking away from it, but
let me tweak it on up a little bit more. It was within the past 7 days. The vote passed to share intelligence with that small country in the Middle East.
Yes, yes, it did.
Yeah. There's a lot of things happening behind the camera, behind the things that they're putting out there, and this one now, he's not even a scapegoat. Like, everybody already dislikes the man. He's gotten a full pardon. So now it's just like, just tell what's going to happen to him. He's not going to be tried for it. He's already gotten a full pardon. So now I don't know. And plus, who knows? But by the time Elizabeth had entered the courtroom in 2017, there was a little mystery left. She wasn't claiming mistaken identity or anything like that. She wasn't denying the allegations. She wasn't asking the jury to decide whether she'd done it. She admitted it. In June of 2017, Elizabeth pleaded guilty to 8 counts of first-degree murder, 4 counts of attempted murder, and 2 counts of aggravated assault. For the victim's family, there would be no long trial, no dramatic cross-examination, no weeks of testimony trying to prove who was responsible. Elizabeth already did that herself. She accepted the responsibility for her crimes. The court's task was no longer determining guilt, it was determining the punishment. In Canada, a conviction for first-degree murder carries an automatic sentence of life imprisonment. For Elizabeth, the judge imposed life imprisonment with no possibility of parole for 25 years. But Canadian law generally requires those parole ineligibility periods to be served concurrently for convictions like these at that time. The practical sentence was life imprisonment with eligibility to apply for parole after 25 years. Eligibility does not mean release. It only means she can ask the parole board to consider her case after that period. Elizabeth will spend decades behind bars. Whether she's ever granted parole is a decision that will ultimately rest on Canada's parole system. And she might get out. Who knows?
I have complete and total issue with that. And because y'all, I'm a bleeding heart liberal and I own that. I also firmly believe in the death penalty. I think that certain crimes deserve no less than that. But I also don't think that death row should be 30 years. No. I feel like go through 2 trials, and if they know unequivocally, like in this case, she confessed.
Yeah.
Give her second trial, do it within a couple of years, and then say, okay, done.
Yeah. They run the appeals process too, and eventually, they run out of appeals they can do. Mm-hmm. I get it. There's people that's been put to death that were proven innocent after they died. Yeah. But if it's a situation where like they're on camera, well, not even then. Now you can't even trust that now.
No.
Well, it's like, you remember that boy that shot up that church over in South Carolina, I think it was a few years ago. Yep. Dylan Roof was. Yeah. There's no question he did it.
Yeah.
Why is he still breathing air?
There's no good reason.
No, there's not.
Yeah, they do milk the death sentence for a long time. There's people that's been 100% proven guilty that's been sitting on death row for decades.
There's a girl that was sentenced when she was 20 years old. She was the youngest female ever given the death penalty in this country. She's been sitting there for 30 years. She's begged them to go ahead and push through the sentence. And then the last time it was time for, a group came through throwing a fit. Yeah. Oh, no, it's not fair.
Texas back in the day, though, they were churning them out.
And like I said, I do think that it should be very specific. I think that if there's no question, because I'm sorry, they say, oh, well, what is it that they use? Mental incompetence. Okay, if you're that incompetent, then you don't need to be, there's no fixing you.
Yeah. Arkansas had a fast, quick, and a hurry death penalty back in the day when Judge Parker was making those decisions in Fort Smith.
Mm-hmm. Was he the hanging judge? Was that him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. And like I said, to me, there are certain things that it should be automatic anyway. If you mess with a kid, you should die.
Yeah. No second chances on that one.
Nope.
Wasn't Louisiana, or was it? It was one of the states. It might have even been your state, Stephen. I can't remember. That's imposed chemical castration, mandatory chemical castration for.
That's Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yep, that's Louisiana.
Louisiana did that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, Ronnie, I do agree that life in prison is harder on the prisoner. But I look at it from a taxpayer point of view. Why? If I can't give kids free lunch in school, why am I feeding murderers and child molesters? I just... Yeah.
I agree with that.
I agree with you, Morgana. We're on the same page with this right here. I can assure you that. They get free meals, free lodging, free all kinds of stuff, free education.
Well,
free
you know,
medical.
if it's just like, and we've talked about this before, prisons should not be for profit, because if
Yeah.
you are for profit, then you have to have a product. So their goal is not to rehabilitate prisoners, it's to cycle them back through. Whereas if it's
Right.
somebody that's not doing something violent that can be rehabilitated, give them an education and have a program they can be in when they get out and put them to work. People do deserve second chances.
Yeah, I
Most
agree with that
people.
100%.
Most people, but some people are not rehabilitatable and they shouldn't even attempt it. But we should also not feed and house them for the next 50, 60 years. But anyway, I'll get down off my soapbox.
No, I was looking up something else because I wanted to see if this was real or not. I think it is. I'm just trying to find it. Let's see. There was a death penalty. There was somebody on the death penalty one time, and I can't remember everything that happened. And please forgive me if this is not real, but this seems like something that would really happen. And in my memory right now, this really happened. They were on the death penalty, and they either had a medical emergency right before they were set to be put to death,
Mhm.
or it was happening like as they was getting ready to be put to death. And they had to go to the hospital to be saved. They had to be resurrected like a few times, and they spent a few days in the hospital. Then when they were shipped back to death row, they put them to death.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to.
Okay, if you're on death row, it should be an automatic DNR.
Yeah, you would think so.
Here's a New York's time. Maybe this is it. Let's see. Oh, I gotta pay. Nah, not
Yeah.
paying you. Lad Bible. Let's see. Because this really sounds like something that we would do. No, this is about the guy who died and argued that he had served his life sentence after he died, and they brought him back. I don't know. Maybe I made that up, but does that not sound like something they would do?
Mhm.
I have I remember watching. It was on it's back when I used to watch the nightly news. You know, there stuff shows like it right there. It was a lawyer advocating for those in prison. You know, that they should be the ones who are on the transplant list and things like that. You know, if they need a heart or a kidney or liver or anything like that. You know, the interviewer was asking him. You know, said, you think the person who's on death row deserves to get this life-saving surgery instead of somebody out here who hasn't committed any crimes?
Mhm.
And of course, you know, that lawyer was saying, yes, of course.
Mhm. Okay. His name was Robert Brichine. He was rushed to a hospital to have his stomach pumped after a tranquilizer overdose hours before his execution, only to be returned to the prison and put to death. That was in Oklahoma at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary, August 11th of 95.
Yeah.
Around 9 p.m., just 3 hours before his scheduled midnight lethal injection. Guards found 40-year-old Robert Breachin unresponsive in his holding cell from suspected overdose of tranquilizers, either Valium or diazepam. He was rushed to a regional hospital where medical staff revived him, pumped his stomach to ensure he was medically stable and legally competent to face execution. Then he was transported back to the prison, strapped to a gurney, and executed by lethal injection, roughly 2 hours behind schedule.
Is that not crazy?
They felt they were legally obligated to preserve his health just to carry out the court-ordered death penalty.
The thing is, it's the privatized prison system.
There you
That's
go.
exactly what it is. And like Morgana said, they have to have people in there to get the funds from the government.
Mhm.
So that's the reason we have the highest number of people in prison in the United States compared to the world.
I mean, you know, how many people are in jail for weed,
Yeah.
because of 3 strikes, laws and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's legal in half the country now, if it's
Yeah.
not more. Like, like you can go to Michigan and walk into a store, and it's like walking into a candy shop. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
it's
That's I think I've got friends in Maine. They have recreational weed there now. I mean, like I said, you can grow up to so many plants, for your personal use. It's just
that has no bearing on why Mandy and I want to move to either Maine or Michigan either. It just so happens it's coincidence.
but yeah, like I said, I mean, some of the people that I have seen walk are so much worse. But you look at who they are, who they know, that kind of stuff, and then you, like I said, you look at the fact that prisons are privatized, and of course, the people that are in prison are a very specific, select type of person.
Yeah.
100%. Who do you want to adopt you, Crystal? There's 3 of us. She wants to move to Michigan or Maine. That's what it is. So she's talking Cecil.
I have always wanted to live in Maine.
Yeah.
I think Maine's awesome.
I would just like to go visit my friend that lives there because I haven't made it up there.
Yeah, I'd really love to. But before we end today's episode, we would like to take a moment to remember the people at the center of the story. It's not Elizabeth. It's the victims. We should always try to remember the victims and the things they went through. James Silcox, Apad Horvath, Maurice Moe Granat, Gladys Miller.
It's Canada, Granat.
Yeah. Helen Young, Mary Zumith, and Hilda Mickey Kolosok. I believe is how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. And Maureen Pickering. Each of them lived full lives before they entered a nursing home. They had families, friends, stories, careers, dreams, people who loved them. And their lives deserve to be remembered for far more than the way they ended. So that's the tale of Elizabeth. She is currently serving her time up there in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And when I was looking into this, I realized this is the first true crime that we've done, I think, where the person's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
I think it is.
You are exactly right.
That's wild. We've done quite a few true crime episodes in the past too. So that's weird. That's strange. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's up there in Canada soaking up that prison life. I assume that's where she's going to serve out the rest of her days. But who knows? She might get out. She might get out.
Yeah. Like I said, they proved that she was competent, that she knew what she was doing. She knew right from wrong. So, she shouldn't be given the privileges that she took away from other people. And it doesn't matter if it was somebody that was 90 years old or if they were, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It's the fact that you took something that you had no right to take.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, I really like the idea of getting topics. So go ahead and send them to us. I no longer have access to our email for some reason. It will not work on my computer.
You changed the password again?
No, it logs in. It logs in, but for some reason on my computer, it does not pull up the inbox or anything. And I've done everything that I can think to do. And
have you tried it from a different computer?
Yeah.
Okay. No. Does it work from a different one? Hang on. I'm going to try it real quick.
It takes me straight to the help center. GMX Help Center, your account. And then when I go to email, I click on email and it just takes me straight back to the help center. And yeah, I don't know. It automatically takes me to the help center and I don't know why. Maybe this is why. I'm a damn idiot if this works. Oh my God, I'm stupid. Oh my God.
Stop talking about my friend like that.
No, I'm not. It's still doing the same shit.
Okay.
I'll show you after we get off here.
I've just got to figure out where I stuck the password at.
Yeah. But I'll show you after we get off here. But Tully's wanting to do a watch party tomorrow, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I don't know what time. Probably 8.
Probably. I'm not going to promise to be there. I have so much work to do, but I may be ready for a break. So
yeah, that's fair. Take you on. I've got a lot of stuff to do tomorrow. I've got to clean out our dryer vent.
Oh, fun.
I've got to reattach one side of my rain. Oh shit, what's it called now? Gutter. My gutter.
Oh, yeah.
It fell down in the recent storms. And I've got to do some construction in here for my new job because I need a wall of screens.
See, you're going to make me feel obligated to have a wall. I cannot have one right now because I screwed up. And when I bought my array, I bought curved monitors and they don't mount to the wall the way flat ones do. The only reason I did that is so I could do this.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah. That's the reason I went with it. So it's one big arc. I've got 51 inches. Nice. From one side to the other.
The way I have my stuff set up now, I've got the laptop here, 32, 32, 24, 50. And after this, I think what's going to happen, because I got some pivot wall mounts, I think I'm going to do 24 on the wall here, 32, not like this, but like this. You know. And I'm going to drag that 65-inch TV out. And I'm going to put that motherfucker right in the middle.
All right. I would like to make a PSA real quick.
And then I'm going to do another 32 over here.
I want to do a PSA.
What's that?
Don't ever buy multiple monitors because you will create a monster in yourself that will make you want more and more and more.
It does. It does. It's so insane. When I used to work in the office, as Nick is still here, he can tell you. It was literally like this, 6 monitors across my desk, like boom, and every one of them were used every one of them.
Yeah, the only reason I don't have that right now is because when I upgraded my computer, because I'm Mac environment, I went with a Mac Mini, and it doesn't hold as many monitors.
You can get around that.
I know, but shut up. I don't want to. I've sold myself on the fact that I literally have no room on my desk for stuff on the sides because it's full of monitor.
I pulled out a bag of adapters and everything the other day. I was like, I can literally hook up 20 monitors if I want.
Oh, hell yes. I've got a box. As a matter of fact, I replaced my box recently with an actual wooden chest.
Yeah.
That has all of my monitor cords and all that fun stuff.
But yeah, tomorrow
we wouldn't be nerds.
No. Tomorrow, watch party. We'll be here. Tully's bringing the movies or the clips or whatever. No idea what they're going to be. He likes to surprise folks. So that's the plan. Keep an eye out on Facebook and Twitter, I believe, is where things go out. I'm lazy. I don't handle any of that. And let's see. I can't think of anything else. Everything else is still kind of on hold. Cosmic Crumbs is on hold. Between the Notes is on hold. Till Death Do We Watch is on hold. So unfortunately,
Stephen, would you like to start an independent podcast that you can put on hold?
Yeah, you got to.
It's kind of become our thing.
It's became our thing now.
Yeah, mine would be on hold indefinitely.
Hey, we're there right now.
We are. I just don't know how to structure the one that I want to do, and doing it with Mandy, like, I don't know. I want her to be the focus of it because she's funny and stuff. So I don't know how that's gonna work.
You'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. We recorded episodes, and I just do not like them. I don't like them. So, but anyway, let's put our pre-show chats on hold. We have to have those chats. They're business meetings.
I think we just got called out. What do you think?
Yeah.
So tune in tomorrow, y'all, and of course we'll be back next Friday, 8:00.
We're just calling them Fringe Fridays unless we come up with something better.
Yeah. I don't know what we'll do next week. We might do a Fringe Friday. We might do something else.
I had a couple of things written down, but I think it must be on my thing at work.
Oh. You might want to shoot a quick suggestion. Let's see if we bite.
We love suggestions.
I've got a little more time on my hands than I used to have, so I can research now.
It must be on my notepad at work. I wrote down ideas.
Yeah, I've got ideas. Oh, I got ideas for days. I'm down for French Friday.
Well, and like I said, if one of us comes up with something, we really want to dive into between now and then, when we post on Friday morning, you'll see, hey, guess what? Here's what we're talking about.
Like that Detective Dokes from Dexter. Surprise, motherfucker. But anyway, thank you all for watching us, because we are watching you.